Hey everyone, Jeff at Tidy Bytes here. This is the first week of Apps Month here in Tidy24, where we are cleaning up and simplifying the apps on your devices. This probably applies mostly to your smartphone, but also a tablet if you have one, and maybe even a laptop or desktop computer. But these days, mostly the problem of having too many apps is on our phones. The goal here is that by the end of the month, you'll have far less to manage and keep track of on your devices, and a much healthier relationship with notifications, which are horrible for your focus, and maybe even save some money by canceling app subscriptions that you don't actually need. To give you an easy start here in week one, we're just going to do one thing: purge the unused. This is something that I try to do on a regular basis, and surprisingly, I find stuff to cut out just about every time I do it. Apps of every kind find their way onto my devices as I experiment with things or try some new productivity tool or sleep monitoring app or chatbot or image editor, all kinds of things that are often great and potentially useful, but almost as often unnecessary. It is super easy to let an app collection like this build up over time until you have even hundreds of them, but you really only use maybe a dozen or two on a regular basis. Now, is this actually a problem? Maybe not, but at best, you end up with a bunch of unnecessary junk to wade through to find the apps you actually want to use, and those apps are wasting storage space on your devices. Some of them probably generate annoying notifications, and some might even have active subscriptions that you've forgotten about. So, what do? Here are the steps for week one of Apps Month. Step one, identify which devices you want to clean up. For most people, that might just be your smartphone. Even if you have another device like a tablet or a computer, if your phone is where 90% of your app usage is, that's where 90% of the benefit will be if you clean it up. Step two is look through all of the apps on each device for everything you don't use. In some cases, you might not even remember what certain apps are for. This is a great sign that you don't need it anymore. Step three is remove all the apps you identified in step two. That's it. A couple of things to point out though. Exactly how you do steps 2 and 3 depends on what kind of device it is. If you're on an iPhone or iPad, the simplest way is probably just methodically scanning through your home screens, whether you have rows upon rows of app icons or they're sorted into groups or some combination of that. Just tap and hold on anything you want to get rid of and choose the remove app option. More recent versions of iOS make you choose whether to delete the app, which is what you want, or just remove it from the home screen, which doesn't uninstall anything, it just hides the icons. If you're on an Android device, the easiest way is to go to Settings and then Apps. You can then see a list of everything under the All Apps item, or some versions of Android helpfully give you an Unused Apps item with a list of everything you haven't used in a while, grouped by how long it's been since you last used it. You can then tap on any app in this list to choose whether to uninstall it. However, some apps can't be uninstalled if they're required by Android or your mobile phone service provider, so just be aware of that. If you are on a Windows computer, look for the Apps area in Settings and then specifically under Installed Apps. Or on a Mac, you can open Finder and look on the left for the Applications entry for a pretty comprehensive list. It might not have everything, but it should have nearly everything. If you can, as always, try to remove things as aggressively as possible. You can always reinstall something later if you decide that you really did need it after all, but at the same time, don't stress too much. This week is just a first pass, a way for you to start paying more attention to something you might not have in a while, and start the cleanup process with the easy stuff. So, here's a quick review of the steps for week one in Tidy24 Apps Month. Step one is identify which devices you want to clean up. Step two, look through all the apps on each device for everything you don't use. And step three, remove everything you found in step two. Have fun with this one. If you're enjoying Tidy24, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Tidy Bytes channel for more digital organization tips. See you next week.